Hi, I'm Heather Dodds, and welcome back to Eye on Harness Racing, presented by Trackmaster. The credit winner in Muscle Hill, a pair of $200,000 races for older trotters, highlight this coming weekend's racing schedule. Sevruga, who has won the Cutler Memorial and Cash Memorial this year, is trained by Julie Miller and driven by her husband Andy Miller. And our Ken Weingartner caught up with Julie.
I like where we drew. You know, I'm going to say he's well suited for Verdon. He seems to maneuver all size tracks. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the race.
I know you guys like Sevruga a lot coming into this season, but has he still kind of been a pleasant surprise for you?
Well, you know what? We were hoping that he'd at least be an invitational horse and, you know, get money in the so-called big races. You know, for him to step up in the Cashman and in the Cutler, you know, we couldn't be happier. You know what? He really takes good care of himself. You know, he's a pleasure in the barn. He doesn't get overexcited and doesn't, you know, overwork himself during the work week. But, you know, when Andy calls on him to go, and he's a grinder. You know, I'm really proud that he can just, it seems like, bottom out of field, where a lot of them would rather maybe sprint home. They got to catch him first before they can sprint home. We know what's been exciting, I think, more for the public. There's not one dominant horse, you know, so the betting seems to be good on the races. There's not a clear-cut favorite all the time. You know, Market Share still gets a lot of respect for what he's accomplished. But, you know, all of them have a good shot.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to ignore you, but I've got something here on my iPad I want to show you. Something new from Hoofbeats just for you. It's our all-new edition of Hoofbeats Direct. If you have an iPad such as this, an Android tablet, any device that gets to the internet, you'll have this. The nice thing about it, whereas before it was simply a PDF file that showed a picture of all the pages, every one of these, you saw the links come up, is a link directly to a story. Hoofbeats Direct will come with special content, links to slideshows, and video, for example, interviews with the newsmakers each month. Things you'll find nowhere else. They'll be exclusive to you and your copy. And the best thing is, if you have Hoofbeats delivered to your home each and every month, you can have the online version, as you see here, at no additional charge. But you do need to have an online services account. Visit myaccount.ustrotting.com to register.
The Pacing Triple Crown got underway this past Monday at Tioga Downs, where the $360,000 cane pace was featured. The favorite entry of Captaintreacherous and Wake Up Peter raced 1-2 in the late stages, when Word Power and driver Jody Jamison closed from off the pace to make it a thriller.
Into the stretch drive of the cane pace, and they're swarming in on Captaintreacherous, but he's hanging in there. Wake Up Peter. Here is Word Power. Jody Jamison, the final surge. Captaintreacherous held them off.
He hates to lose races, and he never wins by many, but he always seems to get the job done.
Now, you played a little hardball with Yannick there, but he made you work for it. Did you feel like you still had enough at the top of the stretch when the cavalry started coming in on you?
Well, you never know, but I didn't have much choice with Vegas vacation getting on my back, and you know, I tried to you know, release Yannick and go, but Brian was not going to let that happen. So, you know, too bad for Yannick, but it was just horse racing.
I want to ask you the question that I know a lot of people are asking.
I'm not going to answer it.
You're not going to answer it now. So what is going to go into the decision?
September 10th to 15th, I told Phil Terry and all the wonderful people at the Little Brown Jug that I'll give him an answer if we're going to go in that. It depends on the horse. And he has other engagements later on in the year. And, of course, we have to race him as a 4-year-old. So we want to take it a race at a time.
In the $122,000 Shady Daisy, the filly division of the cane, Scandalous Hanover was sent 3 wide at the 3/4 by driver David Miller and posted a mild 3-1 upset. In the process, she pushed her current win streak to 4 races since coming into the Casey Coleman barn.
In deep stretch, Scandalous Hanover takes the lead, but she's all out. Miss Kayla J. Fraud trying to battle back on the inside. Scandalous Hanover!
Tioga's Great Labor Day card also featured the $25,000 Drivers' Championship. By the rules, Jim Marone Jr., who was 3rd in the standings, was able to pick his mount in the final race of the competition. He picked Diamond Star, who carried Marone on to the victory.
It's Diamond Star in front. All out is Flyaway on the outside. XL9 up the rail. Trevor's Babe. Diamond Star!
The $618,450 Canadian Pacing Derby at Mohawk this past Saturday was, as expected, a competitive and exciting affair. However, the expected battle between a rock and roll dance and Bolt the Doer didn't materialize. The latter finished 7th as the favorite, and Clear Vision and driver Brett Miller gave a Rocknroll dance all he wanted as the winner scored in a stakes record mile of 1:47.2.
Vision's got a head up in front. A Rocknroll dance battles on at the rail. A Rocknroll dance comes back. Clear Vision on the outside, still with him. Clear Vision, a Rocknroll dance. Clear Vision on the outside, reaching up. Clear Vision, a Rocknroll dance battle back at the end in 1:47 2/5.
The $648,850 Metro Final showcased top 2-year-old pacing colts and provided another thrilling race to the wire. The favored Western Vintage seemed poised to win, but Boom Boom Ballykeel and driver Sylvain Filion had other ideas and came clear at the wire, reached in 1:50.4.
Bumping there in deep stretch, and a couple of them got hooked up in deep stretch there. Deep stretch lead belongs to Western Vintage, and it's Western Vintage. Boom Boom Ballykeel powering up on the outside for Filion, and it's a boom boom upset in the Metro pace.
Trackmaster, along with TVG and the USTA, would like to announce the $5,000 Big 5 Harness Handicapping Challenge. Free to enter and free to play, there will be 5 weekly chances to participate every Saturday from August 10th through September 7th. 5 finalists advance each week by making 5 wagers from any of our 5 featured tracks. Trackmaster will be providing free programs and handicapping data to contest participants, and with $5,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs in the finals on September 14th, you won't want to miss it. Visit Trackmaster.com to register and find out more.
Trackmaster has again provided us with platinum picks for the Ion Harness Racing Race of the Week. Here are this week's Trackmaster platinum picks for the $200,000 credit winner trot at Vernon Downs. The credit winner and Muscle Hill are the subject of this week's edition of Paul's Paddock Picks.
This Friday night at Vernon Downs, we have the credit winner for open trotters and the Muscle Hill for trotting mares. In the credit winner, we have some horses that are racing very well right now. My MVP is one of those horses. He won at Harris, Philadelphia last week in a winner's over, defeating Market Share and Sevruga. We also have last year's Breeders' Crown champion Intimidate coming down to the States for the first time this year. He knocked off Mr. Herbie in a preferred last week on the Woodbine Entertainment Group circuit. We also have Wishing Stone coming off an open win at Yonkers Raceway last Friday. Any of these horses can win this race, but I think I'm going to have to go with my MVP. He looks to be the hot horse coming into this race. I think he'll have a good chance to knock off these other top open trotters. But as I said, any number of those horses can win. In the Muscle Hill, look for Beat Goes On Hanover, coming off a world record performance at Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs. She also has to take on Maven, who's been the top horse in this class all season, as well as Check Me Out, who unfortunately is saddled with an outside post position. But again, current form seems to be the top thing I'm looking forward to this Friday night. I say Beat Goes On Hanover knocks off Maven in the Muscle Hill. I'm Paul Ramlow for Paul's Paddock Picks.
That's it for this week. I'm Heather Dodds, and I'd like to thank Ken Weingardner and Paul Ramlow for their contributions to this week's show. Next week, John Pavlock will return to focus on the Canadian Trotting Classic for sophomore trotters. Thanks for joining us, and see you next week.